The first time my parents called me useless, I was 12. The last time was the night I ruined my brother's charity gala. My name is Beverly.
I'm 34.
And this is a story I never thought I'd tell out loud. There's a particular kind of silence that lives in families. It's not loud. It doesn't argue. It just settles. Like dust. In my family, that silence had a name.
It was me.
I was the quiet one. The reliable one. The one who didn't make scenes, didn't demand attention, didn't need praise, because I learned very early that I wouldn't get it anyway. My older brother Daniel, on the other hand, he was everything. Brilliant.
Charismatic.
A cardiologist before 30. The kind of man my mother introduced with a glow in her voice and a hand on his shoulder, like she'd personally crafted him out of perfection. Daniel saves lives, she'd say. And then she'd look at me. And Beverly works with numbers. I was a CFO. I managed millions. I built companies back from collapse. But in that house, I was always just less. Less impressive. Less important. Less loved. For 15 years, I wired money to my parents every single month. $3,000.
No reminders.
No questions.
Just done.
Their mortgage, their medical bills, their comfort, it all ran quietly through me. I never told anyone. Not even Daniel. Because I didn't need applause. I just needed peace. The night everything broke started like any other Sunday dinner. Same dining table. Same polished plates. Same script. Daniel talking about surgeries. My father nodding proudly. My mother smiling like she was basking in sunlight. And me, passing the salt. It happened in the middle of dessert. My mother laughed, light, casual, careless. You'll never be as good as your brother, Beverly. She said it the way people comment on the weather. Like it was obvious. Harmless. Normal. For a moment, no one said anything.
Not even me.
But something inside me shifted.
Not loudly.
Not dramatically. Just enough. I looked at her. And I said, very quietly, "What money?" She blinked. "We never received a single dollar from you." If you've ever watched a lie collapse in real time,
you know that silence.
It's not the same as before. This one has weight. My father frowned. "What do you mean?" My mother laughed it off. "She's joking." But I wasn't. I turned to Daniel. "Did you ever mention the transfers?" His fork paused midair. "What transfers?" And just like that, the dust started to lift.
I didn't argue that night.
Didn't defend myself. Didn't even raise my voice. I just nodded slowly, finished my tea, and went home. But something had already begun. Not revenge. Not yet.
Truth.
The next morning, I printed 15 years of bank statements. Every transfer. Every confirmation. Every silent act of love documented. And I noticed something strange. The account number. It wasn't my parents'. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Then I thought it was fraud. But fraud leaves traces. This didn't. It was clean. Consistent. Intentional. Which meant someone had changed the destination. I didn't confront Daniel. Not yet. Instead, I did what I do best. I investigated. Quietly.
Carefully.
On paper. Over the next 6 months, I followed everything. The account. The routing. The linked transactions. And, eventually, the name. Daniel. He hadn't stolen the money in one move. That would have been reckless. He'd done it slowly. Systematically. A temporary change. Years ago when my parents had trouble accessing funds. A subtle redirection. A story about handling things more efficiently. And I never questioned it. Because I trusted him. Because he was family. Because I was the quiet one. But the truth doesn't stay buried forever. It waits. Patiently. Until someone is ready to look. The opportunity came wrapped in gold and applause. Daniel's charity gala. A massive event. Doctors, donors, media. A night celebrating his work, his generosity, his commitment to helping others. The irony almost made me laugh. I didn't crash the event. I didn't create a scene. That's not how truth works. Truth doesn't scream. It stands.
Calm.
Documented. Unshakable. I contacted the compliance team organizing the gala. Submitted everything. The transfers. The timelines. The discrepancies.
No accusations. Just facts.
They responded within a week. Then the auditors got involved. Then legal. And by the time the gala night arrived, everything was ready. I wore black. Simple. Unremarkable. No one noticed me when I walked in, which was perfect. Daniel stood on stage, smiling, talking about integrity, about trust, about doing what's right, even when no one is watching. The audience applauded. My mother had tears in her eyes. My father looked proud, and I sat quietly in the back. Then came the moment. The podium shifted. Not dramatically, just enough. A representative from the compliance board stepped forward. There was a murmur in the room.
Confusion.
Then stillness. They spoke calmly, professionally, about financial inconsistencies, about redirected funds, about an internal investigation. And then they said his name. Daniel. I didn't look at him right away. I looked at my parents. At the exact moment their reality cracked. My mother's smile didn't just fade. It collapsed. My father's posture stiffened, like he was trying to hold something together that had already broken. Daniel tried to respond. Of course he did. There were explanations, half-truths, words like misunderstanding and temporary adjustments. But paper doesn't argue. It doesn't forget. And it doesn't lie. I stood up, not to speak, not to confront, just to leave, because my part was done.
My mother called me that night.
Her voice was different.
Smaller.
What happened? She asked. I let the silence sit for a moment. Then I said, the truth.
She cried.
Not loudly, but enough. And for the first time in my life, I didn't rush to comfort her. Because love doesn't mean silence. And forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. Daniel faced consequences. Legal, professional,
public.
My parents had to rebuild their understanding of reality. And me? I stopped sending money. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. Because boundaries aren't punishments. They're protection.
I didn't win anything.
There was no applause for me.
No speeches. No recognition.
Just something quieter. Something stronger.
Peace.
If you've ever been the reliable one, the silent one, the one who gives without being seen, I want you to remember something. Silence, practiced long enough, becomes agreement. And you deserve better than that. This is Beverly, 34. And for the first time in my life, I'm not quiet anymore. Thank you for listening to Relaxing Drama Stories.